Every year after 60, your body quietly sheds muscle. No warning, no symptoms, until one day your legs just don't feel as steady. But what if I told you that researchers have discovered a simple mineral, one you can stir right into your water, that could halt that decline in its tracks? It doesn't come in a pill. It doesn't require a prescription. And when used correctly, it could be the single easiest way to reverse sarcopenia from your kitchen counter. Sarcopenia doesn't knock. It doesn't scream. It whispers. One day you're walking fine, and the next, stairs feel steeper, chairs feel lower, and getting up from bed takes just a little more effort than it used to. But here's the truth that most seniors never hear. Your muscles aren't vanishing because you're lazy or because of age alone. They're being starved, silently, cell by cell. Now, you might think the solution is lifting weights or eating more protein. And yes, those help. But they're not enough. Not without one key piece that's often overlooked: hydration. Not just any hydration, targeted hydration. You see, as we age, the body's ability to absorb and transport nutrients declines. Even if you're eating well, your cells may not be getting the fuel they need. Blood flow slows, capillaries narrow, and without the right minerals in your bloodstream, your muscles can't repair themselves. They can't rebuild. They shrink. And here's where most people make the mistake. They think muscle maintenance happens in the gym. But in seniors, the battle is biochemical, inside the bloodstream, at the cellular level, and it begins with water. Let me tell you about Martin. He was 74, recently retired, and starting to feel like gravity was winning. He wasn't bedridden, far from it. He walked every day, ate decent meals, and even stretched before bed. But his legs felt heavier, his grip weaker. He chalked it up to getting older. But when we looked deeper, the real problem wasn't his lifestyle, it was his hydration. Martin was drinking coffee, juice, a glass of water here and there. But his blood was thick, his circulation sluggish, his muscle fibers starved of oxygen and essential electrolytes. We ran labs, and what we found was something I see more often than I care to admit: a borderline magnesium deficiency, low potassium, mild dehydration. These imbalances sound small, harmless even, but to a senior body, they're everything. Here's the science. Muscles contract and relax through electrical signals. Those signals depend on water and minerals, specifically magnesium, potassium, and sodium, to fire correctly. Without them, your movement's slow, your reflexes dull. Recovery takes longer. Muscle breakdown accelerates. And yes, sarcopenia creeps in faster than it should. Now imagine pouring just one scoop of the right electrolyte blend into your morning water. No sugar, no caffeine, just magnesium, potassium, a touch of natural sodium, and maybe a squeeze of lemon. That one change could rehydrate your bloodstream, power up your cells, and finally give your muscles the raw ingredients they need to grow, not shrink. And it doesn't stop there. Hydrated muscle tissue resists injury. It recovers faster from small strains, and most importantly, it helps stabilize blood sugar, reduce inflammation, and support balance. That means fewer falls, fewer hospital visits, more independence. Here's the part that most doctors won't tell you. Seniors often drink less water on purpose, to avoid bathroom trips, to prevent waking up at night. But the cost is silent. Chronic underhydration leads to thicker blood, slower circulation, and yes, muscle loss. Add in coffee or diuretics, and you're actively draining the minerals your muscles need to stay strong. I asked Martin to do one thing, just one. Every morning, before coffee, before food, he was to drink 16 ounces of water with a pinch of Himalayan salt and a magnesium powder I recommended. That's it. Within 2 weeks, his energy improved. Within 4, he was walking longer. By 2 months, his posture changed. He said he felt 10 years younger. I didn't change his diet. I didn't put him in a gym. We just gave his cells what they were missing. If you're over 60, this is your wake-up call. Your muscle strength isn't just about movement. It's about what's moving through you. Blood, oxygen, nutrients, and it all starts with water. Not just more water, but smarter water. So, before you reach for another supplement or start a new workout program, look at your glass. What's in it? Because sometimes the solution isn't found in medicine or machines. Sometimes it's as simple as what flows through your body first thing in the morning. When you think of rebuilding muscle, you probably picture weights, shakes, or maybe even physical therapy. But if your body doesn't have the right mineral foundation, it's like trying to build a house with no bricks. And here's what most seniors don't know. The secret to keeping muscle after 60 may not be in a bottle of supplements. It may be in your glass of water, but only if you add the right 3 ingredients. Let's start with the most overlooked of them all, magnesium. After 60, your body doesn't absorb it as easily. And yet, magnesium is essential for over 300 enzyme reactions, many directly tied to muscle performance. It helps regulate calcium in your cells, keeps nerves firing properly, and supports protein synthesis. Without enough magnesium, your muscles weaken, cramps become common, and more alarmingly, your muscle fibers start to break down faster than they can rebuild. The sad truth? Studies show that up to 70% of adults over 65 are mildly deficient. Why? Because magnesium-rich foods like leafy greens, nuts, and beans aren't eaten as often. And most multivitamins contain the wrong form, magnesium oxide, which barely absorbs. That's why adding magnesium citrate or magnesium glycinate to your water can be a game changer. Just a quarter teaspoon in the morning can help recharge your cells and restart the rebuilding process. Now let's talk about potassium, another vital but often forgotten mineral. Potassium isn't just for blood pressure. It's a muscle-sparing agent. It controls how your muscles store energy. It balances sodium, and it helps with water retention inside the muscle cell, which is where strength begins. But here's the problem. Seniors on blood pressure meds, especially diuretics, often flush potassium out fast. Even mild potassium deficiency can make your muscles feel heavy, slow, and stiff. And here's the trap. Sports drinks that claim to have electrolytes? Many have more sugar than potassium. You'd have to drink 3 bottles just to match what your body needs. And by then, the sugar has already spiked your insulin, triggered inflammation, and completely defeated the purpose. A better alternative? A tiny pinch of potassium chloride, sold as light salt in most grocery stores, mixed into your morning water, alongside your magnesium. It's safe in small amounts and far more effective at restoring intracellular balance than any neon-colored sports drink. And finally, there's sodium. Yes, the mineral everyone's afraid of. But here's the truth. Sodium, in its natural form, is not the enemy. In fact, for seniors dealing with chronic fatigue, low blood pressure, or dizziness when standing up, a lack of natural sodium can be part of the problem. Sodium helps drive hydration into your muscles and keeps blood pressure stable, especially when combined with potassium. The issue is not sodium itself. It's the kind of sodium and where it comes from. Table salt? Highly processed, fast food, loaded with sodium but stripped of minerals. But a pinch of unrefined Himalayan salt or Celtic sea salt in your water? That contains trace minerals like calcium, magnesium, and zinc, all of which contribute to muscle repair and neuromuscular health. Let's rewind for a moment. One of my patients, Barbara, age 76, had been on 3 medications for blood pressure. She stayed active, walked every morning, and tried to eat clean, but she still felt tired, unsteady. Her legs felt like they didn't belong to her body. We tested everything: labs, MRI, blood flow scans. The results? Low magnesium, low potassium, and borderline hyponatremia, meaning her sodium levels were too low for optimal muscle function. When we switched her from diet sodas and bottled water to a homemade mineral tonic, filtered water, magnesium citrate, potassium light salt, and a pinch of Himalayan salt, her life changed. Within 2 weeks, the heaviness in her legs lifted. She stood up without holding onto the counter. Her energy was back. And all we did was support her hydration with the minerals her body was quietly begging for. This is where so many seniors are being failed. The advice is always about eat better or move more, but no one talks about cellular conductivity, about what your muscle fibers actually need to turn back on. And the answer isn't complicated. It's in the water, literally. So, next time you grab a glass, ask yourself, is this just water or is this fuel? Because when you add magnesium, potassium, and natural salt to your hydration, just the right amounts, you're not just drinking to quench thirst. You're drinking to rebuild, to reverse the slow decline, and to take back the muscle strength your body wants to preserve. And the best part? You don't need a doctor's visit to start. Here's a hard truth I've learned after 3 decades working with older adults. Most seniors don't fall because they trip. They fall because their muscles gave out seconds before their brain even realized it. And more often than not, the root of that problem isn't in the legs. It's in the blood, weak circulation, dehydrated muscle fibers, a quiet mineral imbalance that's been building for years. Let me explain. Muscles aren't just tissue. They're electrical systems. Every step you take, every time you reach for a glass, every time you rise from a chair, a silent electrical signal fires from your brain to your muscles, And that signal doesn't just need protein, it needs minerals. Without enough magnesium or potassium, the signal gets fuzzy. The muscle reaction gets weaker. The strength just isn't there. You don't feel it at first. Maybe you start walking slower. Maybe stairs get harder. Maybe you find yourself holding onto walls or countertops just in case. But eventually, the body reaches a point where even a small imbalance, a drop in blood pressure, a moment of dizziness, can be enough to cause a fall. And for seniors, one fall isn't just a bruise. It's often the beginning of a downward spiral, a fractured hip, a hospital stay, weeks in bed that cause even more muscle loss. I've seen it happen too many times. But here's what gives me hope. It's also preventable. And it starts with what you put in your glass each morning. Let's go back to hydration for a moment. Proper hydration does more than ease thirst. It literally lubricates your nervous system. It improves blood volume. It helps maintain your posture and keeps your blood pressure steady when you move from sitting to standing. Seniors who are even mildly dehydrated are more likely to experience sudden drops in blood pressure, what we call orthostatic hypotension. That's when the world spins for a second. That's when legs give out. That's when the fall happens. Now add in poor muscle tone from years of mild sarcopenia, and you have the perfect storm. I want to tell you about Frank. He was 81 when he came to me after a fall in the garden. Nothing dramatic. He bent down to pick up a pot, stood up too fast, and the next thing he knew, he was waking up in an ambulance. The hospital couldn't find anything alarming. No broken bones, just age-related dizziness, they said. But Frank wanted answers, so we dug deeper. He was drinking plenty of fluids, he said. Tea, some juice, even water. But we ran a full electrolyte panel, and sure enough, he was low in magnesium and potassium. He was also on a diuretic for blood pressure, which had been quietly depleting his sodium levels. His muscles were weak, not from lack of effort, but from lack of fuel. His body wasn't failing. It was underpowered. So we made one change. Every morning, Frank began drinking what we now call stability water, 16 ounces of filtered water with magnesium citrate, potassium chloride, and a pinch of Himalayan salt. No sugar, no caffeine, just minerals and hydration. Within a week, he said his energy was steadier. 2 weeks later, he stopped gripping the handrail every time he climbed the stairs. A month in, he told me, "Doctor, I feel more grounded." That's the word he used. Grounded. Balanced. And that's the power of correcting what seems small, because your body is incredibly responsive, even at 80. Give it the raw ingredients it needs and it will fight for you. It will rebuild for you. The irony is, we've spent decades telling seniors to eat protein, take calcium, get vitamin D, but we've skipped the first and most important step. Get the conductivity right. Get the hydration right. Because if your muscles can't fire, none of those nutrients can get where they need to go. This is why I urge every senior watching this to stop thinking of water as optional, stop thinking of muscle weakness as inevitable, and start thinking of your morning glass as your first medicine of the day. But not just plain water, functional water, charged with minerals your muscles crave. No fancy powders, no artificial dyes, just the basics, mixed into a ritual that rebuilds your body from the inside out. So the next time you feel a little off balance, the next time your legs tremble more than they used to, don't just assume it's age. Look at what you're drinking. Look at what your muscles are missing. Because strength isn't lost overnight. It fades drip by drip, drop by drop. But it can also return, glass by glass. You've probably been told your whole life to drink more water, but no one ever tells you how. And for seniors, that missing detail can be the difference between gaining strength or losing it for good. Because here's the truth. Not all hydration helps. In fact, most seniors hydrate the wrong way. They either wait too long, drink the wrong things, or dilute their body's essential minerals without realizing it. And it's costing them strength, balance, and muscle integrity every single day. Let's start with the biggest mistake I see: only drinking when you're thirsty. As we age, our thirst reflex begins to fade. Your brain simply stops sending strong signals to drink water. That means by the time you feel thirsty, your body is already under stress. Your blood has already thickened. Your circulation has already slowed. Your muscles are already struggling to repair. Think about that. Your body is silently running on low fluid, but because it doesn't ring the alarm the way it used to, you assume you're fine. But inside, the engine is overheating, and your muscles, especially your legs, are the first to feel it. Now here's the second mistake: relying on the wrong fluids. Many seniors drink tea, coffee, or diet soda throughout the day, thinking it counts as hydration. But these drinks, especially if consumed in excess, do the opposite. They pull water from your tissues, they stimulate your kidneys, and they deplete magnesium, potassium, and sodium, the very minerals you need to keep your muscles firing and your heart beating rhythmically. I can't tell you how many patients I've seen who swear they're hydrated because they had 6 cups of tea. But when we test them, their blood tells a different story. Their cells are dry, their circulation is slow, their strength is fading. One of them, a patient named Evelyn, was sipping peppermint tea all day long, but never drinking plain water. She didn't feel thirsty, but she felt tired. Her legs cramped at night. She had trouble getting out of her chair, and for months, no one linked it back to her glass. We made one change. We added real hydration, morning water with electrolytes, no caffeine after noon. And just like that, her symptoms began to reverse. And now, the third mistake, and this one might surprise you: overhydration without minerals. That's right, drinking too much plain water, especially without electrolytes, can actually flush vital minerals from your body. It sounds counterintuitive, but it's true. Seniors who chug plain water without any sodium or potassium often dilute their internal electrolyte levels. And when sodium drops too low, it doesn't just cause fatigue, it causes confusion, weakness, and in extreme cases, seizures or fainting. Hydration is about balance, not just volume. That's why adding a pinch of natural salt to your morning water is so powerful. It helps your body absorb the water instead of just urinating it out. It holds the fluid inside your bloodstream where it belongs, feeding your muscles, cushioning your joints, and maintaining stable blood pressure throughout the day. Let's take a moment to visualize what happens inside your body when you hydrate correctly. You drink a glass of mineral-rich water first thing in the morning. Within 15 minutes, your blood begins to thin just slightly, improving flow. Your cells absorb water more efficiently. Your muscles get the signal. It's time to repair. It's time to rebuild. That small dose of sodium keeps your blood pressure from crashing. The potassium helps regulate nerve signals to prevent twitches and spasms. And the magnesium calms inflammation and supports deep sleep later that night, when true recovery happens. All of that from one glass. I always tell my patients, your muscles are like sponges, but they can't soak up nutrients if they're dry, and they can't contract with strength if they're short on minerals. So, here's the fix. Don't wait to feel thirsty. Drink water on a schedule. Start with 16 ounces in the morning. Don't rely on tea or juice. Make at least half your fluids pure water, ideally enhanced with trace minerals. And don't fear salt. Embrace the right kind. A pinch of unrefined Himalayan salt or Celtic sea salt isn't dangerous. It's essential, especially if you're over 60 and want to stay strong. Most importantly, don't treat hydration like a side note. It's not just about comfort. It's your foundation. It determines how well your muscles recover, how steady your legs feel, and how resilient your body remains as you age. You don't need fancy supplements. You don't need a personal trainer. You just need to master your morning ritual and protect your muscle with every sip. Because at the end of the day, strength doesn't just come from effort. It comes from what fuels the effort. And in seniors, that fuel begins with smart hydration. Let's bring everything together now, because the real power isn't just in what you drink. It's in how you do it. Your hydration needs to be timed, targeted, and tuned to your body's specific needs after 60. And when it is, your body stops breaking down and starts building back up. So here's the truth that no one ever taught most seniors. Your morning glass can either be empty or it can be your most powerful medicine. That's why I created what I now call the morning mineral ritual. A simple drink, one you make in under a minute. And when done consistently, it can help support stronger muscles, better balance, and sharper energy throughout the day. So what goes in it? Start with filtered water, 16 ounces, ideally at room temperature. Cold water can constrict blood vessels and slow digestion first thing in the morning. Warm or room temp gives your body a gentle nudge without stress. Next, add magnesium, specifically magnesium citrate or magnesium glycinate. These forms are well absorbed and easy on the stomach, about 200 to 300 milligrams, or roughly 1/4 teaspoon if you're using powder. This supports your muscles, your nerves, and even your sleep later that night. Then, add a pinch of potassium chloride. This is sold in most stores as light salt. You only need a small amount, just enough to balance your electrolyte levels and support hydration inside your muscle cells. Think of potassium as the spark plug that keeps your electrical signals firing smoothly between brain and body. Now, here comes the part most people fear: Sodium, but not just any sodium. Add a pinch of unrefined sea salt, like Himalayan pink salt or Celtic salt. These contain trace minerals your body desperately needs and don't trigger the same inflammatory responses as processed table salt. That tiny pinch can help stabilize your blood pressure, retain hydration, and keep your circulation running smoothly. And if you want to take it one step further, squeeze in a bit of fresh lemon juice. Not only does it provide vitamin C, but it helps alkalize the body, supports digestion, and improves the taste. That's it. No sugar, no caffeine, no fake colors or energy boost gimmicks. Just water, charged with exactly what your muscles need to fire, move, and repair. But here's the key. You must be consistent. Drinking this one day won't change your strength overnight. But doing it daily? That's where the magic happens. Let me tell you about Gloria. Gloria was 79 and had already given up on gardening. Her legs were too weak. Her knees ached. She relied on her walker to get to the mailbox. She thought she needed physical therapy or maybe even surgery. But when I looked at her labs and her diet, I saw what so many seniors have: silent dehydration, low magnesium, and critically low potassium. So I didn't send her to the gym. I didn't start her on medication. I started her on the morning mineral ritual. 2 weeks in, she called me and said, "Doctor, I walked across the kitchen without my walker." A month later, she was back in her garden, slowly, gently, but without fear. And all we did was teach her how to drink right. You see, fighting sarcopenia isn't about lifting weights until you collapse. It's about building the biochemical environment your muscles need to grow again. And that starts with circulation, with hydration, with minerals. Here's the reality. Your body is not done. Your muscles are not gone. They're just waiting to be reactivated. And the signal begins with your first glass each morning. So tomorrow when you wake up, don't reach for coffee. Don't start your day with sugar or cereal. Start with the ritual. Water, magnesium, potassium, natural salt, lemon. It costs less than $1, takes less than a minute, and may give you something you thought you lost forever: strength. Because the question isn't, can I rebuild muscle after 60? The question is, are you giving your body the tools to even try? And if a simple glass of water, infused with the right minerals, can reignite muscle strength after 60, imagine what happens when you pair that with the right foods. Not just any foods, specific ingredients that flip your muscle-building switch back on, even if you've been sedentary for years. Because what you add to your plate could be either rebuilding your muscles or quietly breaking them down. There's one everyday food that seniors think is healthy, but it's secretly blocking your body's ability to grow muscle, even with exercise. And worse, it's sitting in most pantries right now. Let me show you what it is, and the 3 foods that actually restore senior strength faster than any supplement ever could.